Hello dear students. As you all know, we are doing ray optics chapter number 9 of class 12th. Today we are going to study about telescope. This is going to be the 17th part of the lecture series. This is for the revision, and today we are going to do 17th. As I have told you, today the topic is telescope. What is a telescope? So if we go by definition, then telescope is an optical device which is used to view distant objects. And if an object is very distant from us, obviously the angle it makes to our eye, the angle it subtends to our eye is very small. Okay, if an object is very distant from us, suppose this is an object AB and our eyes are here. So what angle it subtends at our eye is this one. But suppose if the same object is somewhere here of the same height, then what will happen? What is the angle it subtends? The angle becomes small. Okay, so the thing is, given an object is very distant from us, it makes a very small angle at our eye. So what telescope does? Telescope provides the angular magnification. It does not magnify image. The image formed by the telescope will not be larger than the object. But the angular magnification is there. Since the object is very distant from our eye, image is quite nearer to our eye, and that's why image subtends a big angle, a larger angle as compared to the angle subtended by the object. So basically telescope provides angular magnification. It does not provide linear magnification as it was provided by microscope. In case of compound also, in case of simple microscope also, they were providing linear magnification. But here we'll have angular magnification, we don't have linear magnification. Okay, so telescope is a device which is used to view distant objects. If examples are concerned, so I would like to give you an example. In our childhood, we used to buy one thing which is called binoculars. Binoculars are something by which if we used to view something, then that thing appears to be closer. Okay, that thing appears to be closer. So binoculars is a kind of telescope only. Okay, I hope you are remembering binoculars, using binoculars. So let us try to understand how many types of telescopes are there. Telescope, as I have told you, it is an optical device which is used to view distant objects, and telescope provides angular magnification. Now types of telescope. Types of telescope. By uses we can divide into three. One is called astronomical telescope. We can divide it into two, one is terrestrial telescope. Okay, astronomical telescope, as from the name it is very much clear, it is used to view astronomical bodies like moon, stars, planet, like that. Terrestrial telescope, it is a telescope which is used to view distant objects on the earth itself. So binoculars they are kind of terrestrial telescope. So by use they can divide into two categories. And if what we are using in the telescope, mirrors or lenses, if we consider that, then again two categories are there. One is refracting type telescope and another one is reflecting type telescope. Again, from the name it is clear, refracting means it uses lenses as its objective and eyepiece. In reflecting type, objective is used as mirrors are used as objective, and eyepiece again it is going to be a lens only. So basically in refracting, lenses are used. In reflecting, mirrors are used as objective. What are objective? Objectives are the lenses or the mirrors which faces the object. What are the eyepiece? Through eyepiece we view the final image. Okay, so what we need to study, we have in our syllabus refracting type astronomical telescope. So that is going to be our next heading, and that is going to be that is the thing we need to study. So the next thing we need to go on is refracting type astronomical telescope. Refracting type astronomical telescope. Now let us try to understand. So again, it has two lenses. One is called eyepiece, another one is called objective. If you compare it with compound microscope, because compound microscope was having also two lenses. So in compound microscope, eyepiece is of larger aperture, objective was of a smaller aperture. In this case, it is just opposite. Objective is of larger aperture and large focal length. Eyepiece is of smaller aperture and small focal length. Okay, so we have two lenses. One is objective. Objective has to be a larger aperture. Objective have to be of larger aperture, and eyepiece is going to be a smaller one. We'll make it later on. Again, two cases are there. The first case is when the final image is formed at D. When the final image is formed at capital D. This is the first case we need to study. So again, from the infinity, the rays which comes, they are parallel to each other. So the ray will come like this, and obviously when the object is at infinity, the image has to be formed on the focus of the objective. So this is the first image, which is A dash and B dash. It has to be on focus of the objective. Now again, the eyepiece. The eyepiece has to be smaller aperture, of a smaller aperture and smaller focal length, short focal length. Now eyepiece is so adjusted that this image A dash B dash falls between focal length of the eyepiece and optical center of the eyepiece. Okay, focal length of the eyepiece and optical center of the eyepiece, so that a virtual magnified image is formed. One ray goes parallel to the principal axis. Now if we extend this rays behind, and suppose the final image is formed here only, so final image is formed somewhere here. So this image is going to be A double dash, B double dash, and it is going to be at a distance capital D from the lens. That capital D has to be obtained. It will not be like for the first attempt you are going to have the image at capital D. You have to adjust this lens in such manner that this image is formed at capital D. Okay. Obviously, this lens has to be slide towards the lens or opposite to the lens, and we need to take care that focal length of this lens, that is eyepiece, is beyond the position of this image, because this image serves as an object for this lens. Okay, so this is how the ray diagram is there. Now, if you already know that after this we calculate magnifying power. So let us calculate magnifying power here. We'll have magnifying power m is equal to, by definition it is beta upon alpha, where beta is the angle subtended by the image at our eye and alpha is the angle subtended by the object at our eye. Since object is at this time, it is at infinity, so this is going to be alpha, vertically opposite, so this is also going to be alpha. For beta we'll have this one, because final image is formed here, and we'll keep our eyes here only. Okay, so beta and alpha, they are very small. So the next line, you know that we have done it so many times now, tan beta upon tan alpha. Now tan beta and tan alpha is there. Now we have to put tan beta and tan alpha as per the figure. Now tan beta can be written as a dash b dash upon O2 a dash, a dash b dash upon O2 a dash whole upon tan alpha is in this triangle O1 a dash b dash, so we'll have a dash b dash upon O1 a dash. Now if we put the values, so capital M is equal to a dash b dash, let it be minus h dash, height of the image formed by the objective, upon O2 a dash, it is UE, that is also negative. A dash b dash is again minus h dash upon O1 a dash. O1 a dash, it is the focal length of objective f4. So basically it is going to be f only. H dash and h dash will be cancelled out, and we'll have m is equal to f0 upon UE with negative sign. Okay, f0 upon UE with negative sign. Now we have to put this UE here. So how we are going to put it? Just see, 1 upon f E is equal to 1 upon capital D minus 1 upon UE with negative sign. So if we calculate 1 upon minus UE from here, what we are going to have? That 1 upon D is going to be this side. So it will be 1 upon D, 1 upon, let this minus sign should not be here. So what it will become? It will become 1 upon UE is equal to, because this minus and minus will become plus, so 1 upon FE plus 1 upon D. So 1 upon UE is this much, we can put it over here. That the same process we have done in compound microscope and simple microscope also. So let us put it over here. So we'll have M is equal to FO minus FO because of this negative sign, and we'll have in bracket 1 upon FE plus 1 upon D. Now if FE can be taken common, we'll have minus FO upon FE in bracket 1 plus FE upon D. So this is the magnifying power of astronomical refracting type telescope when the final image is formed at capital D. Clearly from here, the focal length of the objective has to be more so that magnifying power is more. Focal length of eyepiece has to be less so that magnifying power is more. For better magnification, we keep FO as large, FE is small. Okay, so this is how the telescope works. Now one more question can be asked in the board examination. Why aperture of objective have to be large in this case? In this case, what happens actually, the object is at infinite. Object is very far away from us. So we try to collect more amount of light from the object so that the final image formed will be of greater brightness. Greater bright, or final image will be more brighter. And that's why the objective has to be of larger aperture so that it can collect more amount of light from the object. So this was the case 1 when the final image is formed at capital D. This is the formula of magnifying power. Just take the screenshot, note it down. Now we are moving to the second case when the final image is formed at infinity. Now, again let us make the ray diagram first of all. This is objective. Object has to be at infinity. So the rays will come parallel to each other and they'll make an image at focus of the objective. This image is A dash, B dash. Now what we want that final image is formed at infinity, and it is the relaxed condition of eye also that we have discussed. So if the final image has to be at infinity, so this image formed by the objective must be at the focus of the eyepiece also. So focus of the eyepiece will be at this point only. So in this case what will happen? Ray of light which passes through the optical center, it will go like that only. And the ray of light which goes parallel to the principal axis, it becomes parallel to the previous ray. So what will happen now? If we extend them behind, they will be parallel to each other and they will be cut at infinity. So this is how the ray diagram is made. Visual angle of object, it is alpha, so it is also alpha. Visual angle of image is beta. Now tell me, what is in the derivation, what will be the change? M will be beta upon alpha only, and beta upon alpha will be written as tan beta upon tan alpha. Tan beta will be written as, just see the diagram, A dash B dash upon O2 A dash. This point is O2. This point is O2 and this point is O1. And tan alpha is, just see the diagram, A dash B dash upon O1 A dash, A dash B dash upon O1 A dash. Now A dash B dash will be cancelled out, will have, if you put the value, minus dash is just cancel out, FO will be in the numerator, now U in the denominator. Now just see, in this case, the object distance for the eyepiece, means for this lens, is focal length only. So in this case what happens, capital M is given by minus FO upon FE. In this case, magnifying power is this only. Okay, because in this case what happens now, object distance for the object eyepiece is equal to focal length only. This object has to be at the focus so that the final image is formed at infinity. And that's why what happens, the magnifying power is minus FO upon FE. Moreover, in this case what happens, if someone asks what is the length of the tube. So in this case, from here till here it is FO, from here till here it is FE. So length of the tube is FO plus FE. This is the length of the tube. If someone asks, if the final image is formed at infinity, then what is the length of the tube of the telescope? The answer is L is equal to FO plus FE. This condition is preferred because in this condition eyes are in relaxed condition. In the previous video lecture I have told that when the eyes when a distant object has to be viewed, the ciliary muscles which hold the eye lens are in relaxed condition, but if a thing which is closer to our eye has to be viewed, then what happens? The ciliary muscles has to push the lens to decrease its focal length. And that's why this condition is preferred, because in this condition what happens? The eyes are in relaxed condition. So this is all about refracting type telescope. Okay, let us move reflecting type astronomical telescope. Now let us move to the reflecting type telescopes. There are two telescopes which we have to study. One is Newtonian type, other one is Cassegrain type. Okay, so in Newtonian type only the construction is different. Okay, basically the working is same. In Newtonian type what happens? A big concave mirror we take, a very big concave mirror we take. Suppose the axis of the concave mirror is this. Now what happens? For a ray which is for an object which is at infinity, the ray which has to come, is from infinity. So one ray will come like this, another ray like this. This is a concave mirror. So these rays, after passing through parallel to the principal axis, they have tendency to cut at focus of the objective. This concave mirror works as an objective. But what happens? Before they cut at focus, they are collected by a plane mirror which is placed like this. Okay, they will not cut at focus. They will collected by a plane mirror which is inclined at 45 degree. Now due to this plane mirror, the ray of light gets reflected. Ray of light goes like this, and the further this rays of light are collected by an eyepiece. This is our eyepiece to see the final image. Okay. For the figure I have drawn, the ray of light, the final image will be formed at infinity. Formula will not change, magnifying power will remain same. it will be capital M is equal to FO upon FE, where FO is focal length of concave mirror, FE is focal length of eyepiece. Cassegrain. Cassegrain uses concave mirror as an objective with a small hole at its center. Okay. This is the concave mirror. Let this be the axis of the concave mirror. Okay. Now, let me draw it again. Straight line. Okay. Now what happens? Again, a ray of light comes parallel to the principal axis. From infinity it comes, and it comes parallel to the principal axis. Again, they have tendency to cut on focus, but before cutting on focus, they are collected by a convex mirror. They are collected by a convex mirror. They have tendency to cut at focus, but they are collected by a convex mirror. And what that convex mirror does, it sends the rays from the space between the mirror. A small hole is there. Here that convex lens is made, which serves as an eyepiece, and after this ray becomes parallel. If the final image has to be formed at infinity, the ray becomes parallel to the principal axis. Okay, so this is, in this case, this is our eyepiece, and this concave mirror will work as an object. Formula for magnifying power will remain same. Capital M is equal to minus FO upon FE if the final image is formed at infinity, and capital M is equal to minus FO upon FE 1 plus FE upon D if the final image is formed at least distance of distinct vision. Okay, so this was all about telescopes. Now the thing is, reflecting type telescopes are preferred over refracting type telescopes. There are few reasons for that. The first reason, in case of reflecting type telescopes, the image is more brighter, because in refracting type telescope what happens, we lose some of the energy of the light, the intensity of the light in refraction. While in reflection, whatever the intensity of light we get, all the intensity will be reflected, and that's why the image formed in the reflecting type telescope is more brighter. Second point, the reflecting type telescopes are easy to construct in comparative to the refracting type telescope. Now suppose if a telescope has to be formed, so its objective aperture has to be large, and it is very difficult to make a convex lens of something 1 meter. If suppose 1 meter is the aperture, so it is very difficult to make a convex lens of 1 meter aperture. But for concave mirror, what we can do, we can take different parts of the mirror and we can combine them to form a mirror. Okay, but lens has to be in one part only. Mirror can be different, can be of different part. It can be combined to form a big concave mirror. The third thing is, the construction cost, the manufacturing cost of reflecting type telescope is far less than the refracting type telescope. And the fourth one is, the resolving power of reflecting type telescope is more than the resolving power of refracting type telescope. What is the resolving power? Resolving power is the ability of an optical device to show the two images of two very close objects distinctly. If the objects are very closer, and if we are looking at the objects with some optical device, so if the optical device make them separate in terms of viewing, images of those objects are separated by an optical device, we'll say that optical device has more resolving power. So resolving power of this telescope, reflecting type telescope, is more as compared to the resolving power of the refracting type telescope. So these are the things which makes refracting type telescope more preferable. Okay, so I think this is all for the reflecting type telescope, and this was the last topic, as I have told you. So your chapter ray optics is done now. It took 17 parts to complete the chapter. Go through the NCERT questions. If you have any doubt, let me know. We'll make a separate video on the numericals if required, and if does not require, then it's okay. From next video lecture we'll move to the next topic, next chapter number 10, wave optics. Okay, so this is all for today. Thank you.